Thank you very much, Your Eminences, Your Excellencies, Reverend Fathers, Archons, family, friends, ladies and gentlemen. It is with profound gratitude and a deep sense of honor that I stand before you today at this Archon Conference on Human Rights, Democracy, and Religious Freedom. To be invited to address such a distinguished gathering of individuals committed to the promotion of fundamental freedoms and protection of human dignity is both humbling and inspiring. The theme, as George has just announced, of this session, Democracy, Authoritarianism, and the Implications, Challenges, and Opportunities for Faith Communities Worldwide, strikes at the heart of some of the most pressing issues facing our world today. As we gather here in the birthplace of democracy, we are reminded of the enduring significance of democratic principles and the vital role they play in safeguarding the rights and liberties of all individuals, including those of faith. Yet alongside the promise of democracy, we are confronted with the sobering reality of authoritarianism and its far-reaching implications for religious communities around the globe. From restrictions on religious practice to persecution and discrimination, the rise of authoritarian regimes poses significant challenges to the free exercise of religion and the flourishing of faith communities worldwide. Amidst these challenges lie opportunities for faith communities to stand in solidarity, advocate for justice, and advance the cause of religious freedom for all. By harnessing the power of collective action, engaging in meaningful dialogue, and leveraging international partnerships, we can confront authoritarianism and defend the rights of individuals to practice their faith without fear or hindrance. Over the course of this conference, we will explore these complex dynamics, examining the ways in which democracy and authoritarianism intersect with religious freedom, and exploring strategies for overcoming obstacles that stand in the way of a more just society. In doing so, let us draw inspiration from the timeless principles of human rights and the rich tapestry of religious traditions that have long been a source of strength and resilience in the face of adversity. Together, let us reaffirm our commitment to upholding the dignity and worth of every human being, regardless of their faith, and work tirelessly to build a world where freedom of religion is not only protected, but celebrated as a fundamental human right. The foundation for freedom of conscience and religion as a fundamental freedom stems from the inherent dignity of every human person, rooted in the belief that each individual is created in the image and likeness of God. This principle, rooted in Scripture and articulated in the document Dignitatis Humani, Declaration of Religious Freedom of the Second Vatican Council, underlies the Catholic Church's stance on religious liberty. According to Catholic teaching, the dignity of the human person is inviolable and intrinsic, not contingent on any external factors. Therefore, individuals possess the inherent right to seek truth, worship according to their conscience, and live out their religious beliefs without coercion or constraint. This freedom extends not only to personal beliefs, but also to public expression and participation in religious communities as recognized by the Church. Furthermore, the Catholic Church emphasizes that religious freedom is not a mere concession from the state, but a natural right that precedes any civil authority. It acknowledges the autonomy of the individual conscience and respects the diversity of religious convictions within society. However, the exercise of religious freedom is not absolute and may be subject to limitations, particularly when it infringes upon the rights of others or jeopardizes public order, safety, or morals. This principle is reflected in Dignitatis Humani, which acknowledges the legitimate authority of civil governments to regulate religious practices in the interest of the common good. The Catholic Church advocates for a balance between religious freedom and other societal values such as the promotion of peace, justice, and human rights. While individuals have the right to follow their conscience and practice their religion freely, they are also called to respect the rights and freedoms of others, fostering dialogue, tolerance, and mutual understanding in a pluralistic society. Patriarch Bartholomew presented this same teaching in an Orthodox light in a statement he made during a meeting with the Prime Minister of Lithuania, citing the 2016 encyclical of the Holy and Great Council of the Orthodox Church, which also emphasizes the protection of religious freedom in all its aspects, including freedom of conscience, belief and worship, and the rights of religious communities to religious education and full exercise of their duties. Religious communities play a vital role in society, contributing to its moral, social, and cultural fabric in various ways. Rooted in shared beliefs, values, and traditions, these communities serve as centers of worship, spiritual guidance, and moral formation, nurturing individuals and families in their faith journey. They provide a sense of belonging and community for their members, fostering bonds of solidarity and mutual support through regular gatherings for worship, prayer, and fellowship. Moreover, religious communities engage in charitable activities and social outreach, serving the needs of the marginalized, the vulnerable, and the disadvantaged in society. Inspired by their religious teachings, they strive to alleviate suffering, promote justice, and uphold human dignity, contributing to the common good and fostering a culture of compassion and empathy. Additionally, religious communities play a significant role in the transmission of cultural heritage and moral values from generation to generation. Through religious education, rituals, and traditions, they impart moral teachings, ethical principles, and spiritual insights, shaping the character and worldview of individuals, forming the collective identity of communities. Furthermore, they serve as moral voices in society, advocating for justice, peace, and human rights, promoting reconciliation, dialogue, and solidarity among diverse groups. However, while religious communities contribute positively to society in many ways, they also face challenges and tensions, particularly in pluralistic and secular contexts. Issues such as religious freedom, secularization, and interfaith relations require thoughtful engagement and dialogue to navigate effectively, ensuring that religious communities can fulfill their roles while respecting the rights and freedoms of others. Christians, as one of many religious communities, have a special characteristic. A classical description of this relationship of the Christian community to society is given in the Epistle to Diognetus, an early patristic document. It seems appropriate to cite here today, as although there is only academic speculation of who Diognetus was to whom this letter was written, one of the theories is based on an inscription found in Smyrna, probably from the 2nd century, cited Diognetos, son of Apollonios, son of Diognetos, Archon. This would have placed the aristocratic family in Smyrna during the time of Polycarp, of which 2 members were named Diognetos. The theory is based on the appropriateness of the use of the term kratiotos to address a recipient of such honorable status. In the letter, Christians are described as a unique community within society, characterized by their moral integrity, compassionate deeds, and unwavering faith. Despite being in the world, they are not of the world, meaning they do not conform to its values or priorities, but seek to embody the values of God's kingdom. Jesus' teaching in the New Testament underscores the transformative impact Christians are called to have in the world. He challenges his followers to be salt and light, influencing the world for good through their actions and attitudes. Jesus emphasizes the importance of love, urging his disciples to love God with all their hearts, soul, and mind, and to love their neighbors as themselves. This love extends to all people, including enemies and those in need. Furthermore, Jesus calls his followers to be peacemakers, reconcilers, and agents of justice in a broken and divided world. He teaches them to care for the poor, the marginalized, and the oppressed, embodying the values of compassion, mercy, and solidarity. Christians are called to be ambassadors of reconciliation, bridging divides and promoting understanding among people of different backgrounds and beliefs. Moreover, Christians are called to be witnesses of the truth, proclaiming the good news of God's kingdom and inviting others to experience the transformative power of God's love and grace. Their lives are to reflect the values of humility, integrity, and generosity, pointing others to the source of their hope and joy. I'd like to explore the unique challenges and opportunities faced by faith communities in different political landscapes, first in autocratic societies, then in democratic societies. In autocratic societies, faith communities face significant challenges, including restrictions on religious freedom, surveillance, repression, and manipulation. Religious practices are heavily regulated, making it extremely difficult for faith communities to worship freely. Governments often require approval for religious gatherings, censor religious materials, limit the activities of religious leaders. Surveillance and repression are common, with faith communities frequently facing intense monitoring, harassment, imprisonment, or worse. Autocratic governments often attempt to co-opt religious institutions to legitimize their rule, undermining the autonomy and integrity of the religious community. Additionally, autocracies can exploit religious differences to divide and control populations, leading to increased sectarian tensions and violence. Public witness is particularly challenging in autocratic societies. Governments may prohibit public displays of faith, limit religious gatherings, and censor religious expression in media. Publicly practicing or advocating for one's faith can lead to persecution or violence. Despite these challenges, faith communities often find creative ways to maintain their public witness, such as underground gatherings, discrete symbols, or coded language, which can strengthen the community and deepen their faith. They become sources of solidarity and support, providing emotional and spiritual sustenance and helping members cope with hardships. Some religious leaders use their moral authority to advocate for human rights and social justice, positioning them as crucial voices for change. Faith communities also play a key role in preserving cultural and religious traditions, contributing to resilience of their cultural heritage. New technologies present a double-edged sword for faith communities in autocratic societies. While these technologies offer new ways to spread religious messages, they also provide regimes with tools for surveillance and censorship. Despite the challenges, faith communities develop underground networks, strengthen community bonds, use encrypted communication to connect and share religious content discreetly. In democratic societies, faith communities face challenges shaped by the principles of pluralism and secularism. These societies emphasize the coexistence of multiple belief systems and the separation of religion and state, which can create tensions for faith communities navigating this complex landscape. The diversity of religious views can lead to internal divisions within communities, weakening communal unity. Despite legal protections, faith communities, especially minority religions, often encounter discrimination and marginalization, struggling for equal treatment and recognition. The consumer-driven nature of many democracies can lead to the commercialization of religious practices and symbols, diluting spiritual values and turning faith into a commodity. Faith communities must also contend with the challenges posed by secularism and pluralism in public life. The separation of religion and state can lead to debates over the role of faith in public spaces and government settings, potentially limiting religious expression. Another significant challenge is the risk of political exploitation. In democratic settings, religious groups may be co-opted by political parties, leading to the politicization of faith and creating divisions within the community. The abundance of information and digital platforms in democratic societies can result in the spread of misinformation about faith communities, affecting their public image. However, democratic societies offer significant opportunities for faith communities to flourish. Legal protections for religious freedom and civil liberties allow communities to worship, teach, and assemble freely. Democracies often have robust legal frameworks and advocacy groups that support and defend the rights of faith communities. The diversity of religious beliefs and practices encourages interfaith dialogue and cooperation, leading to a richer cultural and religious tapestry. Democracies provide faith communities with a platform to engage in public discourse, advocate for social justice, and influence policymaking. These societies offer opportunities for community service and social outreach, enabling faith communities to address social issues, support vulnerable populations, and contribute to societal well-being. New technologies and digital media provide faith communities in democratic societies with tools to reach a wider audience, share religious content, and foster virtual communities. They enable the creation of online platforms for worship, education, and community building. They can harness these tools to connect with younger generations, offer virtual religious education, and promote their values and teachings in innovative ways. In summary, faith communities face diverse challenges and opportunities across different political landscapes. In autocratic societies, they struggle against repression, manipulation, and surveillance, and find ways to maintain resilience in underground networks. In democratic societies, they navigate the complexities of pluralism, secularism, and potential political exploitation, while benefiting from legal protections and opportunities for public engagement and new technologies. Despite the difficulties, faith communities persist in their efforts to preserve their beliefs, advocate for justice, and contribute to the common good. By embracing these opportunities and addressing the challenges, faith communities can continue to play a vital role in fostering moral integrity, promoting social justice, and nurturing the spiritual well-being of individuals and communities. Their enduring presence and influence in various political contexts underscores the importance of religious freedom, interfaith dialogue, and the need for ongoing efforts to create inclusive and respectful societies that honor the diverse expressions of faith. It is of the utmost importance to keep before our eyes that the mission of the Church and other faith communities transcends political and social systems, calling them to be witnesses and beacons of truth and ambassadors of God. They must stand firm against the corruption of power and the dictatorship of relativism. Faith communities uphold and proclaim their faith's teachings, often in contrast to the prevailing cultural norms. In autocratic societies where freedom of expression is curtailed, this witness can be a profound act of courage. Believers might face persecution, censorship, or even violence, yet their steadfastness can illuminate the darkness of oppression and offer hope to those yearning for freedom and justice. In democratic societies, the challenge is different but equally significant. Here the threat often comes not from overt oppression, but from the subtle erosion of truth through relativism. Faith communities must navigate a landscape where truth is seen as subjective and personal, and moral absolutes are more often dismissed. By affirming the existence of objective truth grounded in the transcendent, they offer a counter-narrative of the prevailing cultural currents. Faith communities are also called to resist the corruption and dictatorship of power and force. In autocratic regimes, this might involve advocating for human rights, supporting the oppressed, and speaking out against injustices. Such actions can place faith communities in direct conflict with authorities, yet they reflect the prophetic tradition of standing with the marginalized and holding the powerful accountable. In democratic settings, the challenge is to confront systemic injustices and the often insidious ways power can corrupt. Faith communities can play a crucial role in advocating for ethical governance, transparency, and social justice. They can mobilize their members to engage in civic duties, vote responsibly, and participate in community service, entrusting that the values of compassion and justice inform public life. Central to the mission of these communities is remaining rooted in love. This love is not passive, but active and transformative. It calls for a commitment to the well-being of others, a willingness to forgive, and a dedication to reconciliation. This love finds its fullest expression in Jesus Christ. His life and teachings provide the model of how Christian communities are to live out their mission. By following his example, they become living testimonies of the God who is love. This witness is powerful in both autocratic and democratic contexts, as it transcends human divisions and speaks to the deepest longings of the human heart. Finally, the mission of the church and faith communities is to be unwavering witnesses and beacons of truth, regardless of the type of society in which they find themselves. They must oppose the corruption and dictatorship of power and force and resist the relativism that undermines truth. Rooted in love, as exemplified by Jesus Christ and eloquently taught by the Apostle Paul, Christian churches must remain steadfast in their witness to the God who is love. In doing so, they fulfill their divine mandate and offer hope and light to the world. And so I would like to conclude praying to God in the words of Paul's letter to the Ephesians, that he may grant you, in accord with the riches of his glory, to be strengthened with power through his Spirit in the inner self, and that Christ may dwell in your hearts through faith, that you, rooted and grounded in love, may have strength to comprehend with all the holy ones what is the breadth and length and height and depth, and to know the love of Christ that surpasses knowledge, so that you may be filled with all the fullness of God. Now to him who is able to accomplish far more than we ask or imagine, by the power at work within us, to him be glory in the church and in Christ Jesus to all generations, forever and ever.